Okay, we're just going to recap how to do simple equations first before we move on to the harder ones. Okay, we want to eliminate plus 2 because it's on the same side as 3x, and we want to find x on its own. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. That would mean that 3x equals 12. Because the 2's have cancelled, so we've just got the 3x on the left-hand side. Because we know what 3 lots of x's are, to find 1x, we're going to divide the 12 by the 3. So x equals 4. On this one, we want to eliminate the minus 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. So we've still got the 5x on the left-hand side. The 1's have cancelled. And now we've got 4 on the right-hand side. And to find 1x, we need to divide by 5. 4 does not divide by 5, so we'll just leave it as a fraction. Always make sure your fraction's in its simplest form, so if you can divide the top and bottom by any number, you do that. But we can't, so we're done. That one. Now moving on to harder equations. This is when you'll have x's on both sides. So the first thing you have to do is eliminate the smallest value of x. You can see that 3x is smaller than 5x, so we're going to eliminate 3x from both sides. So we'll take the 3x off here, but we also have to take the 3x off the left-hand side as well. So 5x take away 3x is 2x. You still have your plus 2, so we'll write that in. On the right-hand side, the 3x's have cancelled, we just have 10. And now we're left with a simple equation, so we just solve as normal. So take away 2 from both sides. So 2x equals 8. And then divide by the 2. X equals 4. You'll notice we've got a negative 2x, or a subtract 2x on the right-hand side. Negative 2 is smaller than 4. A negative is always going to be smaller than a whole number. So if you've got a negative, you want to add to eliminate. So we're going to add 2x to both sides. So we have 6x plus 3 equals 15. And now we're left with a nice simple equation again. So just take away 3 from both sides. So 6x equals 12. Divide through. So 12 divided by 6. You always divide by the number in front of x. So x equals 2. Here's another one. So the smallest value is clearly 2x. We're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So we've got 5x plus 1 equals 3. Take away 1 from both sides. 5x equals 2. Now we're going to go and divide, but this will not work out into a whole number. So your answer will just stay as 2/5. X equals 2/5. Sometimes they'll try and confuse you by writing the x second, but we'll just solve it the exact same way. So we're just going to take away 8x from both sides. You'll have 4x minus 8 equals 20. And then all we do is add the 8 to both sides. So 4x equals 28, and then to find our x value, we're just going to divide the 28 by the 4, which does give us a lovely whole number of 7. So the answer is x equals 7. This one is going to give us a negative answer, so you need to know your rules of negative numbers for this one. So just remember, when you're dividing a negative by a positive number, you'll get a negative answer. But if both numbers were negative, you'd get a positive answer. So you'll see that when we get near the end of this question. Okay, so we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So 3x plus 2 equals negative 4. Now when we take away 2 from both sides, we're going to get 3x equals negative 6. So this is where the negative part comes in. We're now going to divide negative 6 by 3. You should have been taught your negative numbers that when one's negative and one's positive, it doesn't matter in what position, but when you divide a negative by a positive or a positive by a negative, you will get an overall negative answer. So the answer will be -2. If that was -6 divided by -3, you would end up with a positive answer. So when you're working through the worksheet, you will get some negative answers on worksheet 2. So just look out for that. Okay, this is our last example we're going to do. If it ever just says x, it means 1x. We just don't put the number 1 in front of algebra. So we're going to take away 1x from both sides. So this would leave us with 2x minus 5 on the left and 2 on the right. Then just add our 5 to both sides. 2x equals 7. And we just divide through. Okay, this is a top-heavy fraction. So when you go into second year, or right at the end of first year, you'll be taught how to convert that into a mixed fraction. But right now you don't know how to do that. So you would just leave your answer as a top-heavy fraction, which is totally fine anyway. You're always allowed to do that as long as it's in the simplest form. So if that was 14/4, you would need to simplify that down to 17/2, or 7/2, sorry. Okay, so just make sure fractions are in the simplest form, but if it's top heavy, that's fine. You can just leave it in that format.